Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. It's another edition of Mom at Home. I'm BJ Morgan with the Museum of Making Music. Today is Friday, November 20th. The Friday before Thanksgiving. Awesome. So I hope you're all in a really, really grateful spirit because we certainly are here at Mom at Home. We are grateful to have our guest on today, Mr. Gregory Walker, a phenomenal vocalist. And we've had the good fortune of having Mr. Walker join us at the Museum of Making Music for one of our benefit events. I'm going to let Mr. Bill, who's our host today, in addition to myself, I'm going to turn it over to him. And Gregory, you'll be able to explore his life, his work, and what he has been doing his entire career, which is being a professional vocalist. As a drummer, personally, using my voice in such a way to inspire people to emote is a very challenging thing. And Mr. Walker has perfected this in such a way that he has just built this amazing career. So I'd like for you to enjoy today's episode with Mr. Bill, Mr. Walker. Gentlemen, how are you doing today? Welcome to Mom at Home.
Yay!
Doing good.
BJ, welcome, Greg.
All right. How you guys doing?
We're doing okay. How about
Awesome.
yourself, sir?
Doing great.
All
Actually, I'm
right.
doing really, really good.
Good,
Uh,
good.
my wife still likes me, so I'm good.
You're doing all right. And BJ, you sell yourself short. I've heard you sing a lot, and you were one heck of a singer yourself. So
Thank
Uh-huh.
you.
get that out there.
Thank you.
Well, Greg, the museum staff has been buzzing ever since I told them you were going to be our guest today, because we have such fond memories of that night back in August when you came in and graced us for our gala celebration. It was actually the first gala put together by one of our then new staff members, Elisa Mize. I was brand new on staff, and boy, when they found out you and I were connected, they said, "What do you think? Can we get him for our gala?" And I asked, and
I
bless
think
your
that
heart,
was
you said yes.
yeah,
And you set us up in a great way. So thank you for that.
yeah, I think that was a good thing. The only problem I had is that I don't have one of those T-shirts. So what's that about?
I could change that. We could change that. We'll
See,
get you
I
one.
mean, see, that's how you guys treat me. You say you love me, you love my voice and everything, but I don't have not one museum music T-shirt. I
You,
mean, come on.
I,
We will.
I wear these every Friday, so people are like, "How many does?" I hope he has more than one T-shirt because every
Exactly.
this is the only thing that people see me wear on these shows. Well, we're happy to make that happen. We'll get you a T-shirt, of course.
Okay,
We'll,
good.
we'll get that squared away, Greg. Don't
I
worry.
look forward to that.
You will stay with us today, right?
I'm thinking about it.
Good deal. So let's talk about your amazing voice, your amazing career. Before we get all the way into that, though, I think you and I would both agree we owe a debt of gratitude to our friend Bert Sayan. Bert brought us together, you and me together back in 1983.
80
Uh,
something. Yeah.
so, Bert, we thank you. We thank you for what you did.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Greg, I've worked with a lot of vocalists in my life, BJ being one of them, amazing in their own right. But when you and I first got together and I heard you sing, I mean, I'd heard you sing before we met, obviously with Stormy and She's Not
Right.
There, and Open Invitation, all that great Santana work you did. But when we were standing in a room playing together, you literally turned my head around. I mean, it's just this endless wealth of ideas that you come up with. Where do you where do you think this all comes from?
Wow. Well, you know what? I listened to a lot of people, so I learned how to steal early. You know, I learned how to steal early. I listened to, Temptations. I listened to people like that, Um, Donny Hathaway, Otis Redding. I listened to all these people. Natalie Cole, God, Aretha Franklin. I had to listen to these people. And listening to them, I says, golly, I need to sing like that, you know. So in listening and taking the riffs, from them, I kind of got excited about it. I said, as a guy, I could do this and this doing listening to Chaka Khan, and all these people, So, I just kind of I had to go along with that program. If that's what I was chosen to do, then I need to do it and do it right.
Could you tell at a real young age, like you say, you were chosen to do that? Because I think you started singing at around age 9 or so.
Yeah, we had this big mirror in our house, and it was in the fireplace that didn't work. It was in the fireplace, but the mirror was there. It was in the living room. So we had one of those silver tone stereos in there. So I would play the music, and I'd get in front of the mirror and do my thing. I said, that looks pretty good. You look.
Yeah.
So I started inviting people over to watch me do that. Some people wanted to come. Some people canceled. They didn't want to bother with that. But so I would sit up and I'd do shows in my living room in front of the mirror a lot, and that got me excited.
So you knew right away that's where you wanted to go, all the way back at a very young age, yeah?
Oh yeah, I was 9 or 10, I think. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And was there a lot of music in the house? A lot of music being played?
There was. There was a lot of music. And my uncles, I had these uncles, Myron and Michael, especially Michael. I mean, he was a jazz guy. I was introduced to jazz through him, so I listened to a lot of jazz. Herbie Hancock. I listened to trumpet players. Because I played trumpet for a long time. I played trumpet back then, and I was making a lot of noise in the house. My grandfather would say, "Gregor, can you go outside with that man?" I mean, what can I say with my grandfather? I mean, he was the boss of the house, so he was telling me. So I had to take my horn. I'd go outside and I'd play to the trees, and it was fun.
No doubt it was. Well, other than Grandpa sending you outside to play, I mean, their family members can be really encouraging. Would you sort of pick one that you say gave you the most encouragement to pursue your?
The most encouraging, I would probably say Myron. His name was Myron. I mean, I wanted to copy everything he did. He played trumpet. He didn't sing. I'm trying to think if anybody sang. Nobody really sang. I knew that my father wasn't living in the house, but I knew that he tried to sing. And I learned later that he and I would have these arguments about who was the best singer. So, at Christmas programs, things like that, we get together and we, have a competition to see who would sing the best. Well, most of the time, my father won because, he was a bodybuilder, so he was a big guy. So I couldn't win all the time. Otherwise, he'd tell me to go outside too, but it wasn't to play trumpet. It would be to argue and box around. I didn't want to go boxing around with that guy. I mean, he was just too much.
A heck of a way to decide who's the best singer in the house, right?
Yeah, but I'm trying to think. The singers, there wasn't. I mean, I guess I was a singer. I was a singer. I listened to a lot of music, 45s, 78s, things like that. So you don't know anything about 78, do you?
Greg, I used to crank a little turntable by hand and put the 78 that was about as thick as a pizza on top of that turntable. So
you do know about 78.
Very familiar with 78s. Okay, now it's out in the open. So you're singing in front of the mirror at home, you're getting your vibe on, your groove on, you know what's going on, you know where you want to go. I mean, what age were you roughly when you realized you got something really special going on here?
Well, you know what? I went to college at Occidental College, And during the time there, they had a talent show. And they had a lot of people, that were in the school that were doing the talent show. I got up there and I said, "Oh, I'm going to go up here. Those people up there singing, they don't sound like anything." So I got up there and I started singing. Everybody sort of enjoyed it. The whole school was in there. I said, "Hell, I might as well try to do this, and maybe somebody will pay me a little something on the side,
Yeah.
if I do it and do it right. So, that was a talent show, but it was fun. And, I learned from there. I said, "Yeah, I might as well do this."
Yeah, I mean, that's a great way to get in front of people and try out what you've been doing, sort of on your own, and then you realize, wow, hey, I got something going on here. So, from the talent show, was anybody there who said, "Hey, dude, come on over here. We want you to sing in our band"? Did you get some band things going from that?
Well, yeah, a lot of people said, "Come on, we want you to sing in a band," but they said, "We want you to be the band, and we'll we'll play whatever you want us to play," and that kind of thing. So, I got up there. There wasn't there wasn't any real serious musicians at Oxy. I'm trying to think at Occidental at that time. However, prior to going there, I met this guy named Ndugu. Ndugu was a great drummer. I mean, one of the most phenomenal drummers on the planet. And a couple of people from the school knew who he was, and they had him come there to play as well. And I really didn't know who he was until he played. And then he played, and I said, "Damn, where'd you guys get this guy from?" He was phenomenal, phenomenal. So I took a back seat and started singing and humming, and then Ndugu asked me to join a group that he had. Group was called oh gosh, I'll think of it as we go along. It'll come.
Okay. Well, we know you at a certain point, and I think it's probably somewhere along this part of your journey, joined a band whose name we're all very familiar with. You got an invitation to audition for a gentleman named Carlos Santana.
Who?
Let me turn my microphone up for you, sir. Now, I'm going to further out my age here and say that I was a freshman in high school when Evil Ways hit the airwaves, and became an instant fan of that band. And then, of course, later on, I think it was early mid '70s. You joined up with that band, put out a couple of huge
Yeah,
hits.
that was Ndugu's fault as well. He came back home and he said, somebody was looking for a lead singer. So I got on an airplane, flew to San Francisco, went to this rehearsal studio, and we sat in there, and we were in there doing some different songs. And Carlos said, "Do Black Magic Woman?" I said, "No, not really. I didn't know." I said, "I didn't know it." I did know it, by the way. I knew it very well. So then he started playing it, and I started singing it, and that was it. I mean, after that, it was like, he told Ndugu, "When you go home, tell that guy to come back up here. We want him to get in the band and sing and stuff." There was a guy named Ray Etzler. And Ray Etzler, I mean, he was a manager at that time. And he took care of all the little business. So he made sure I got a flight home, made sure I got a flight back, told me the songs to learn and that sort of thing. And I came back and, Santana said, "Man, you got to join the band. Are you doing anything?" I said, "Well, no, I'm not thinking about it." No. But anyway, so I joined the band. That was it.
That's it. played a little hard to get and made them want you some more, and there you were. So you're learning the songs, you're learning the repertoire, and the band's rehearsing. I mean, it had to be just sort of euphoria and magic for you. Tell us about the first time you stepped out on stage with Santana and there were thousands of fans in the audience.
Wow. Okay, I had on some bell-bottom pants, and they were patchwork jeans. You know, I went up there, and it was at this really nice place in San Francisco, and Carlos starts to playing, golly, Soul Sacrifice or something like that, which doesn't have any vocals to it. So I said, you know, what am I doing here? I'm saying this to myself. And all of a sudden he looks at me and he gives me a head thing, said, come over here, man, you know, come over here and sing. He introduced the people to me and that sort of thing. And he started playing Black Magic Woman. And I said, oh, Lord. So then he started doing that, and I said, you know, I could do this. You know, and he just sort of enjoyed it. We were having fun then.
So you just slid into it. It felt comfortable.
Evil Ways, all these songs, you know, that, you know, I had no idea that I would be, you know, recognized as being one that sang those songs with him. So I said, okay.
Right. So and then it just felt comfortable right from the get-go, yeah? Just step in, go, and here we are.
It did to me, just like, I don't know, just like you felt when you played that guitar. You felt comfortable doing that, and you know, I don't know, it was interesting because, you know, for a long time I wanted to be in the Temptations, you know, and as a matter of fact, I auditioned for the Temptations when Dennis Edwards left, and you know, they said, Otis called me and he said, man, you know what? You're going to be perfect for this group. You're the right size. You can sing your buns off, right? The only thing, you can't dance. So he told me I couldn't dance, and as a result, I was a Temptation for about 2 weeks.
Wow.
That was it. That was my Temptation life.
No crash course dance lessons to try and hang on to the gig?
Have you seen the Temptation? There's no way I could have learned how to do that stuff. Those steps. I mean, it was like, you know, they were very kind to me, though. They were trying to give me a chance. But, you know, Melvin, the guy with the low voice, he said, man, you know what? Come hang out with me for a while. Maybe you can learn, pick up the steps. So, you know, I went around and he was stepping and trying to show me how to do the stuff. Needless to say, Greg Walker ain't no dancer.
Well, I tell you, if it's any condolence, that's the primary reason why I play drums, because they won't let me do anything else, and I can't dance either. So I stay in the back. I stay in the back.
Yeah,
I sit down at the kit. I can keep time, but don't try and put me make my feet do anything else.
Well, talking about staying in the back, you know, I sang with this lady, Keiko Matsui. She opened for Miles Davis one time, right? I love Miles Davis. I mean, I wanted to play horn like him and the whole thing. So we were backstage, and Keiko, I finished singing my stuff with her, but I was waiting to do the next song. So I was backstage, walking around backstage. I look up, Miles Davis is right there in front of me, right?
Wow.
So he's on one side of the stage. And I'm looking at him, I mean, you know, in awe of Miles. So he walks to the other side of the stage. I follow him over. I follow him wherever he goes. Right, I look at him again, and Miles looks at me. He said, man, what's wrong with you?
Oh, no.
You know, he got that voice. You know, I said, oh, nothing. Yeah, I was just, admiring what you're doing and that sort of thing. So, you know, I got my rocks off with that. So I just left it alone. But it was time for me to sing again, so I went back on the stage.
Oh, wow.
That was my experience with Miles Davis.
Well, you know what? That's a heck of an experience. If you can have an icon like that, even say, "What are you doing?" Yeah, that's a great story.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about being backstage. I mean, I was back in the back, trying to be way in the back, you know, especially with Miles. I mean, come on, Miles Davis.
That's wild. That is wild.
Right. I mean, it's like talking to a deity there. I played in front of Tommy Tedesco one time, who is the god of guitar. I mean, you're at the top of the mountain, man. You're talking to the master. So let's back up a little bit because I want to play a clip of a song called "Nowhere to Run" that you were doing with Santana. So you came into the group, and the group had been around for a while, 5, 6, 8 years maybe. But after a while, you are as much a part of the band as everybody else. How did your role in that band start to change once you were established? You're the front man, and it's Greg Walker and Santana.
Well, that's the thing, you know. You mentioned the word, it was a front man. Now, I really didn't know what being a front man was. But then you're on stage with Carlos Santana. He asked you to be a front man, and I'm saying, now what is he talking about? Well, you want me to play guitar or something? Because as far as I was concerned, the front man was a guitar player, you know. So he had me go up there and sing the songs, and he basically pulled me to the side. He said, man, just do what you do. You know, we like what you do, so just do what you do, and, you know, and sing. Don't worry about it. Just go up there and sing. So I'd be on stage, and, you know, they play da 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 da. Well, all right, you know, and they go through that, and it was like, come on, Greg, you know, you got to get your act together with this. This guy, this is Carlos Santana, you know, this isn't Jack Blow from down the street, you know. So I just sort of got into it. I mean, I guess I felt comfortable. You know, I was kind of used to singing in front of people because, you know, I sang at church. So I would go sing at church, and I'd come down from there and start singing around. But church, you know, they loved me because I grew up there. And so getting into being around and in front of people who actually paid money to come in there and see the group sing, and I was part of that group. I mean, it was an awesome feeling.
And it sounds like Carlos really helped. You know, when you get validation from somebody of his stature, that's got to make you really kind of rise up to the occasion, feel good about what you're doing.
That's Carlos for you. I mean, he did that with everybody. Graham Lear, who was a drummer at the time, he would know who Graham Lear was. Graham Lear, I mean, Carlos like really lifted him up and let him, I mean, told him that he liked the way he played the solos. And you know, they reacted, you know. Graham would play and Carlos would play. And I would be in the back having fun watching them, you know. So, you know, it was just, that's Carlos Santana, man. He just tried to lift you up in any way he possibly could. You know, he tried to help you out, you know. If he felt that you were maybe a little under and a little shy, he'd do something, you know, he'd start telling jokes or something to make you come out of whatever he was in. I won't tell any jokes right now. So.
The jokes on the road stay on the road, right?
Yeah, stay on the road.
I'd like to roll this video clip because you know, from what you've just said, Greg, I'd say Carlos's words really rang true for you, because you are definitely not holding back. You don't look shy. You are as much a part of this band as everybody else. So let's enjoy a little bit of "Nowhere to Run."
All right.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. That is so cool. That is so cool, man. Just how you were right in it. I'm like, oh, that's so
But that
awesome.
was something. Seeing Armando Peraza and Raul Rico, who are gone passed away by now, but those guys had so much energy, especially Raul. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, Armando must have been 80 years old, and he was up there playing like he was 15. I mean, just awesome. You know, these guys, I don't know where they got the energy from. But, you know, with Carlos, he would put his head back like that. And I learned how to put my head back like that when I was getting ready to do something wonderful. I'll put my head back like that, and I come out, and somehow these words would come out like, you know, like I was screaming, and it was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, just watching that much of the clip, I couldn't sit still because the energy just transmits. Here over the computer, and I'll be right there on the stage with that amazing drummer, with those 2 or 3 amazing percussionists. You had to have just been on fire with energy.
Tom Coster.
Right.
Wow. He was another one. I mean, I didn't know who he was until I got in the band there, and then I learned, God, this guy is incredible. I mean, incredible. He's the one that wrote, you know, the way you know, he's the one that wrote that song, Europa.
Yeah.
Europa.
Yeah. I mean, Carlos always surrounded himself with amazing musicians. Tom, the percussionist, you had Chester Thompson, I think, on drums at one point as well. Just an incredible array of musicians. And of course,
that's why I wondered what the hell I was doing there.
Man, I tell you, no way, because just watching that clip, I was like, there is a complete synergy between every single member of that band. Every single member, everybody was pulling a part together, pulling this whole unit together and moving it forward, man. If anything, I mean, you were like just an emotional outlet for everything that the other players could not vocalize. You're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, that's it right there, you know?
Yeah,
you could do
icing
that.
on the cake, man. Seriously, Greg, to me, you redefined the sound of that band.
Well, you know, a lot of people said that, and I took it as a big, huge compliment because, I mean, I didn't get it. I was just trying to fit in and trying to do my thing, and they were enjoying it. And then people like you come along and say, you know, you define what that band was about and all this. I'm saying, okay, whatever. I owe you one.
Checks in the mail, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, you know, the reason I bring it up, Greg, and seriously, it's true, but when you and I first met, you didn't have any airs about you, none of the rock star thing. You were just as regular guy as I would ever hope to meet and work with. You really you've remained humble and grounded through so many other bands that you've been in. And I know a lot of musicians tend to lose focus lose sight of that. What advice would you give to other musicians who all of a sudden are, you know, maybe they're playing casuals and they go to the top of the charts with a band? What would you say to them to say, keep your head? This is what I would advise.
Well, I would say just what you say, keep your head. See, the thing is, none of them were raised by my mother. My mother, I mean, I'd go on the road and come back off the road and come back and my mother would say, well, you know, take the trash out, boy. You know, normal kind of stuff. I mean, I could never act like, you know, had a big head around that house. And the same thing goes on here. I can't do that here. My wife, you know, she loves the way I sing. I know that, but I mean, golly, I can't go around and say, man, you know who I am. You know, I can't do that. It just doesn't feel right to me to do that.
Good.
And then when I go up around people and I see the way you play guitar, it hit me. I said, golly, what? I wouldn't be able to do what I do if you didn't do what you did. And then the drummer, the guy, he didn't do it. I mean, you guys, you were there on that gig we played together. That gig was incredible to me. I mean, I was having so much fun. It was, gosh, I mean, what can I say?
Well, I think you just said it. You were having so much fun.
Yeah, it was.
If music ever stops being fun, it's time to be done, right? Because,
Yeah, I
bottom
got
line
a
is,
job at the post office or something.
yeah, right, exactly. And you're using that energy, that skill, that talent you have, and you are, as you know, gracing literally millions of people the world over. But if you're up there not having fun, it's not going to translate. Well, Greg, I've got some questions from one of our very faithful viewers. He's also a volunteer, Brian. Can I throw some questions at you that he's posted?
Sure, why not?
Here we go. His first question, Greg, is: in your professional opinion, what is the difference between a vocalist and a singer? Is it sort of just a what's in a name thing, or do you see a distinct difference between vocalist and singer?
Well, a vocalist, I think, at least in my opinion, that's a guy who really dives into the song and makes it his. He vocalizes it, and he knows the words. He gets the words, and he lives it. He lives the song. The singer, that's a guy he's gonna go out and he's gonna just do exactly what he's supposed to do and just sing and that kind of thing. But it's a big difference to me. I call myself a vocalist, and I don't know, because I'm a pro. I'd like to dive into the song and live it while I'm singing it. I mean, people will see if I'm singing a song and I do a word like "baby, I love you," they'll know that I mean what I say, because I'll go, "Baby, I love," and I'll do my little head thing. There'll be some stuff to it.
Yeah, right. You really put Greg into the song, into the work.
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's no fun. I have to have fun. I really do.
yeah, yeah. And you know what? You're absolutely right. That's the difference between, like you say, a singer who is handed a chart and we're rolling tape and da 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 da. Da. Okay, I got all the notes. I'm done. Right? You've
Yeah,
just
time
sung
to
the
go.
song, but you've not lived the song. You've not felt the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Brian has a couple other questions.
That was
BJ,
a
you
good
and I are going to
question.
be. What's that?
That was a good question, Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Brian's always got great questions. So, BJ, this one you and I can relate to. He says, or he asks, guitarists and drummers get calluses on their fingers and hands. Do singers or vocalists experience anything like calluses on your vocal cords?
Yes, you do. If you don't, I mean, you have to rehearse. You have to practice. You have to work your vocal cords, so when you go out and sing, like I was displaying to you before, when you go out and go, oh, when you do that, you could do that and nothing comes out. You could go, you say, where did the note go? Well, it's because you messed up something in your vocal cord. So you have to practice, you have to work your vocal cords and exercise them just like you do with anything else.
So keep them in shape so that when you need a call, they're there and they're ready. Yeah, that's another great question. And one more. I'm not trying to get you in trouble here, so you can couch the answer in whatever way you feel most comfortable. Brian's last question at the moment is: between Santana and Keiko, two completely different genres, which one did you feel more at home with?
Wow. Well, you know what? I'm a versatile vocalist. Keiko Keiko was a different kind of music. Carlos was rock and roll. It was rock and roll, no doubt, straight ahead rock and roll. Keiko was a little bit jazz, and and some R&B in there. I felt very comfortable with both of them, and both of them made me feel good to be in the group, to be involved and, to sing the songs. I mean, Keiko was unbelievable. When I first heard her play, I saw her sitting at that piano. Her fingers were moving up and down on the keyboard, saying, where did this lady come from? This little Japanese lady can play Miles Davis, Herbie Hancock, all of that stuff. I mean, and then she let me come in and sing a few things every now and then, So, I don't know. I had a good time singing with both of them.
I mean, completely different genres, but as you said, you enjoyed them both. And that kind of dovetails right into one of the next things I was going to ask you. I mean, after Santana, then you had Keiko. I mean, you've done things with Kenny G. I just found out Randy Travis as well when we were getting ready to come on board today. Jeff Lorber project. I mean, Fifth Dimension. Your current band is called the World Classic Rockers. You really don't let a genre sort of scare you. You embrace them all. One of the first things you said to me when we met years ago was, I don't want to be defined by one little box of music. I want to sing it all. And I think you've done a pretty darn good job. But is there a style that you haven't approached yet that maybe you'd like to?
You know something? I'm going to talk to you about that later, but I want to do one of them country western songs. I got to be able to do something like that. So when I get down into it, I can say, oh, Lordy, I'm in love with you, darling. I just want to get into a country western something. And of course, I'll make it work. Or you and I will make it work.
Well, funny you should say that. I'm just now learning how to play flat pick and bluegrass style. So
really? Well, see, that's good. That's a good thing,
Maybe we're on to something here. And then we did a choral arrangement of He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother, which is a cappella choir with you singing the melody on top. Would you, because again, that's another thing you said to me, I've always wanted to sing that song with a choir, and it's just one of those fortuitous things where I happen to be involved with the university chorus at that time from Cal State Long Beach. Is your affinity for that kind of music, do you think that comes directly from singing in your church choir?
Of course, some of it. I mean, I had to sing in a church choir. It was really different because a lot of times, I was raised in that church, so a lot of times people would treat me different. They'd say, you're Greg Walker, and I didn't care about none of that stuff, and the pastor didn't care about none of that stuff. So I don't know. I guess the choral thing just sort of happened. And then, Fifth Dimension, I mean, their stuff was choral. They had harmonies that you had to come up, you had to stay on your note. That was a hard group. For me, it was hard to do because you had to make sure that your note, up and away, you had to have your note was going to be right, or else that harmony wasn't going to be right. And everybody knew the song, so it had to be right,
So that had to be a completely different twist for you, because I don't want to say it stilted your freedom, and yet, as you just said, you had to really be true to the exact harmony part for the song to work.
Yeah, and a lot of times I didn't do the right note. Of course, Lamont and Ron Townsend, Lawrence, they would get on my case about it in a minute, but it was something I learned. I learned even more, I just learned. But, church was the same way. I mean, it was like, you had to, I don't know. I had to sing. I had to sing the right note.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, and that doesn't hurt us to have to do that once in a while. I mean, I know on guitar I love to kind of play and bend notes and get a little crazy, but if you're playing with an ensemble part and those are the notes we want you to play, you've got to stick to that program. Hey, Denny Mack is with us, Greg. Hey, Denny, great to know you're here. He's got a great question for you here. He's asking if when you're singing, do you ever hear any of the other sort of voices that have influenced you? You know, Donny Hathaway or any, Temptations. Do you hear any of that?
All the time I do. And to mention that singing with a group like World Classic Rockers, I mean, they play everything perfect. I mean, they play everything like it was recorded. So, you have to sing it like it was recorded, and be right. And Denny, one of those guys, we had this thing, I'd do this with Denny, and then he would understand. But he would always be in the corner. He does the sound monitors. And I'd always look over at him, and he'd always tell me, just keep on, man. Nobody will hear you ever if you keep messing with me. That guy was great. I mean, golly, Denny. My wife loves Denny. I mean, I don't know why. I'm wondering, you guys got something happening?
It's those drummers turned sound engineers. They're irresistible.
Greg, I think you just let one of the biggest cats out of the bag to musicians in the world. If you want to be heard, make sure you're on good terms with the sound man. Otherwise,
make sure you're on good terms, because otherwise they won't. And the same thing with you, a producer. If you want to get it right, make sure you understand and do exactly what the producer wants you to do.
That's right. Well, that big jug of cashews goes a long way, right?
Was with me. He used to tell me, man, can you just sing that note a little bit to the right, or make it a little red, or make it a little blue, or you got to understand what those things mean. So, I got fortunate to meet up with this guy who's been interviewing me, Billy Kilpatrick.
You're too kind, Greg. And let me also toss out there, Greg, and to everybody listening, Denny is going to be our first guest on Mom at Home in the new year, which I think is January, I want to say 8th or 11th, whatever that Friday after New Year's is. So keep an eye on that.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
I'm definitely going to do that. I mean, I don't know. I got some questions for him.
You got plenty of time to write, type them down and type them up and have them ready.
Yeah, we'll do it. I'll definitely do that.
So I want to stay on this choral idea for a little bit more, Greg, because even just this afternoon surprised me by saying, "Oh yeah, I've got a gold record with Randy Travis somewhere." Had no idea. Well, when we started putting together your album called Sharing Christmas some years ago, you walked into my studio, and first of all, you turned all these songs on their ear. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Hold on. Wait, hold it. Keep holding it up here. There we go. That's what we're looking at.
Screenshot.
Awesome.
Man, you do that well, Greg. See, I just found something else out about you. You're like a model. Would you like to buy a vowel?
When you've been doing it as long as I have, you learn how to get in there. I mean, that's a good picture. And we were talking about my Uncle Michael earlier. He's the one that took this picture in front of my fireplace at home.
Yay, Uncle Michael.
Yeah, that's nice.
Uncle Michael.
So your ideas for these songs were just a complete departure from what everybody remembers. Do you remember Frank Pooler? He was the director, conductor for the University Chorus.
Of course.
The most amazing mentor I can claim to have had in my life, amongst so many. Well, I bought a copy of the album, gave it to Frank after we were finished with it, and he wrote me, and he said, Bill, when you first gave that to me, I thought, oh, here we go, another Christmas album. He said, and I put that on and went, oh my Lord, that's a whole new take on these songs. And one of the things you did on several of these tracks was created what I like to call the Greg Walker vocal chorus. And we're going to play your version of Silent Night so everybody can hear what I'm talking about.
All right.
Here we go.
Silent night, holy night. Silent night, holy night. Silent night, holy night. Holy night, holy night. All is calm. All is bright round young virgin, mother and child. Oh, infant soul, tender and mild. Sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep, sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night. Silent night, holy night. Silent night, holy night. Shepherds wait at the side. Glory stream from heaven afar. Heavenly hosts sing. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Christ the Savior is born. Christ the Savior is born. Silent night, holy night. Son of God, radiant beams from thy holy face, with the dawn of redeeming grace. Jesus, Lord, at thy birth. Jesus, Lord, at thy birth. Silent night, holy night. Silent night, holy
That is the coolest thing. I love, you don't hear this very often, but like I noticed the fretless player, the fretless bass. And I don't who performed the fretless bass on this one? Oh, that was a key bass. All right, Mr. Bill's saying that's key bass, that he did fretless on that. There was like interplay between what you were doing, Greg, and then what that fretless was doing. That was so cool. You never hear a vocalist interplay with a bass line before, and I heard like parts in there. I'm like, wow, that's so cool how they just weave together. So that's just a cool take on that song. That's amazing.
It's always been something that I enjoy doing, playing with the musicians, back and forth, especially if they knew what they were doing. Billy always knew what he was doing. I don't know. Some people don't know what they're doing a lot of times, So then you end up writing stuff. You end up coming up with different ideas. I know I was in the studio doing something one time, and I was singing. I thought I was getting down, and Cheryl, my friend Cheryl, she told me, "Could I be quiet?" She said, "No, don't sing that part. Do what you did before and sing. Oh, Cheryl. That's Cheryl. She tells the truth."
That she does, Craig. That's yet another first. I've never heard that story.
Oh God, there's a lot of stories.
We're gonna get Cheryl and Bert in actually on the last song we play out today, and we'll come up to that in just a few minutes. Like I say, you're never gonna hear Silent Night the same again, I think, in your head, because with a groove like that, with a feel like that, as you were talking about earlier, you just felt those words and you made us feel them, and the groove. Just a complete fresh take on that song. So. Earlier, Greg, we talked about how you were our first gala event, again, with under Elisa Mize's guidance. And as you know, we do these to raise funds for the different programs that the museum puts together, one of which is to help bring in school students for free tours, free busing, and what you did that night went a long way to helping with that venture. So I'm going to ask you, how important do you see the role of this music education that we're giving the kids? What you helped us give the kids? How important is that for kids?
Well, it's important. I'll tell you, if we weren't doing what we did, we'd lose the music. I can't think for one second how I could have gone through things without having music in my life. So people have to, they really have to get along, not love the music, but they have to love giving of it, sharing it, telling people, what music means to you. Music means a lot to me. Plus it gives me a chance to meet people. I met Carlos Santana, Randy Travis, the Fifth Dimension. I met all these guys, Temptations. I met these guys. And the guys are in the group now, from Leonard Skinner, Randall Hall, Leonard Skinner, from Steppenwolf. Golly, it's amazing how you can do stuff. WCR was started by, what's the guy's name?
Was it Nick St. Nicholas?
Nick,
the bass player, Steppenwolf.
Started by Nick St. Nicholas. I get to work with these guys. Now, when I first got in the group, they were telling me, the greatest singer I wasn't that. But these guys were my heroes. I was listening to them. I was listening to all those old songs, golly. It's just unbelievable. I couldn't. So, it's a matter of sharing, and when you can share like that, especially with people who everybody else knows,
Right.
Michael, the guy from Boston, from the group Boston, I mean, these guys, golly.
No, I can absolutely relate to that because when I was lucky enough to be on that gig at the museum with you guys, and I felt like this is my opportunity to learn from you all these experiences that you've been had and put together, and everything that you've gathered from that. Now you're on a stage with guys like me who like don't have those experiences at all. So I was just like focusing in on, I'm focusing on like, watch Greg. What is he doing? How is he doing it? And how is he,
But you could play.
I could play better after that. That's for sure. That's for sure. But I totally agree with that. You're sharing those learned experiences with those around you and passing that on. I can see, that makes sense how important it is to, I'm a bit older than some of the kids we serve at the museum, but it's just as important to share those experiences wherever you are in life and pass them along to, because you never know where they're going to end up after that.
Well, I look forward to doing that again at some point.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
At least I'll get a T-shirt.
Not my T-shirt. I'll get you your own T-shirt.
And BJ, I remember vividly something you said to me while we were putting that show together. Greg, you came down, you and Brenda came down, Bert and Cheryl, we had a nice little gathering, nice little party. I think we walked through the museum for a little bit. And then we got down to business, and we're all set up. And as I do, I've got all these charts, drums, keyboards, da-da-da. I hand BJ a stack of charts, and he looked at them and he said, "You guys are serious." Because it was all A to Z, 1, 2, ready, go.
Yep. I did. It was a while since I read charts. I'm like, I better change gears here. So, put it in full gear.
Yeah, but that's really something, because when you got charts, you go in. I could go in and I knew that my music was going to be done exactly the way I wanted it, because Big Head over there wrote it down, every note, every rest, whole 9 yards, and it was like I couldn't. I could maybe play around if I say, "Hold it, stop. Don't read the chart right now. Let me do it." So it was always, I don't know, having charts was really something to me. I felt like I had arrived.
Well, what they do is they give you a roadmap to follow. As I say to everybody who asks, being able to read music doesn't make you a better musician, a better player. It certainly makes you a more hireable player, if you understand what I'm saying. But as you just said, as we're working through the songs, you've got total freedom to stop and say, you know what, I'd like you to hang on to this chord a little longer, or maybe when you get to that cadence, just stop. I'm going to do a little riffing, and maybe Paul on the saxophone could follow me with the riff, things like that. And that's really where the musicians that you are talking about who really know their game, that's when they stand up and deliver. So, Greg, I've got a question here, and I'll let you think about it and answer as you see fit. It's from Robert Bryant, and Robert asks, why did you ever say "to the stairwell"? And if that's a mystery to you.
Why did I say "to the stairwell"?
Yes.
Well, you know what? First of all, let me explain to you who Robert Bryant is. Robert Bryant, my best friend through high school. Here's a guy. He and I were same height, same sort of thing. And we sang a little bit in high school. So we were always thinking about how we could maybe sound better. So when you go to a stairwell, you can start singing in the stair. You know what I'm talking about. And then you got reverb.
Yep.
You got reverb automatically, Well, you know what? That's Robert. I'm glad you're listening to this, man. You're my best buddy for years and years. Sometimes I don't like you. You act a little crazy.
Well, maybe Robert needs to send you a T-shirt too. You know.
Yeah, Robert, he probably would. I talked to his brother earlier, who plays keyboard. You know, he helps me out on a lot of things. If I'm trying to learn a song or something, like He Ain't Heavy, he knows He Ain't Heavy. Robert knows He Ain't Heavy was our favorite song in school. Yeah, he liked Donny Hathaway too, but you know, it was one of those things, you know.
Very cool, Robert. It's great to meet you indirectly here. Thanks for that question, because I was looking at it thinking, okay, there's got to be an answer there. So, you know, that's a great answer too, because you're right. You get that natural concrete reverb. Greg, we're coming up. Actually, we're past the hour a little bit, but I do want to sort of sign off with another song from your Sharing Christmas album, because you know the season is upon us, and I want to make sure
Yes,
people know
it is.
it's available. BJ's going to post links for Sharing Christmas,
Yeah.
or maybe he'll just post the screenshot. And links for World Classic Rockers and all the different things you got going. So everybody watching, BJ will tell you where to find those. And Greg, any final thoughts before we sign off? This is again another super hip version of a Christmas song that you came up with.
Well, I want to say thank you to you. You guys took time to come and do this thing. I mean, I hadn't done anything. I'm at home. I didn't have to go outside. Didn't have to go out. I could stay home, and I'm sitting here talking to you guys, being friends, and you know, we're remembering things that I love. Cheryl is still. I see her on the side there. Cheryl she's been great to me. I mean, I just, you know, where'd my wife go? Can you come and get in this? Come here.
Come on, Brenda. We're all family here.
Okay, you guys. Yeah, this is my wife.
Yay!
Hi, Brenda.
Billy, I'm telling you, you guys were great. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Yes.
I'm hungry, but
Yeah, I always find myself a little hungry for something to eat and a beer afterwards.
you know, Brenda will fix that for me in a minute. So I hope so.
Yes.
Anyway, Billy, thank you so much, man.
Greg, thank you.
Thank you for being in my life. Cheryl, thank you. BJ, you are amazing.
Oh, thank you, Greg. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you. And the thing is, I was serious. We got to do this again. I mean, we got to do that thing again. Get the kids together and let me come down and do another show.
Any excuse I have to make music, I will take that. I'll take it anytime I can. So, there you go.
Oh, okay. My wife is saying something. She says she wants a T-shirt too.
Okay, that's possible. Not a problem. I know people at the museum. They know where to find the shirts, and I can.
There you go. Hey man, you guys are like, I mean, you made my day. I mean, I'm like, my wife was more nervous about doing this than I was. She's telling, you gotta get in there and go remember the things Billy's gonna talk about. I said, you know, I'm not worried about it. He's gonna be talking about me. So what? I'll deal with it. If I say something wrong, Cheryl will fix it.
And Cheryl will come on board and say, Greg, you need to stop talking now.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a hug for you guys. Thank you. I love you.
Thank you, Greg. Blessings to you.
All right.
All right, everybody, let's enjoy Jingle Bells.
I like it. Here we go.
You know, as a singer, sometimes it's very difficult to put your mind and soul into a song that talks about a subject that has nothing to do with where you're from. I'm from Southern California, and I'm about to sing of sleigh bells, bobtails, and snow. Please. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. Over the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. A one-horse open sleigh? What the heck? Anyway. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. Over the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. But fun it is to ride and sing on a sleighing song tonight. Jingle. Can't figure it out. You know, you travel all over the world, you see the snow, and then you wonder what the heck this sleigh does. It have wheels? You don't know if it has wheels. You know, you're driving down the street, you think you're a big time driver, then you see a stop sign, and then there's snow, but the car doesn't stop, right? So you end up going through the stop sign, may or may not hit somebody, so you learn to be real friendly with, oh, I'm sorry, but nobody's gonna. Shame, shame. On a sleigh, ride with jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. There's a jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
That's so funky. That is just so funky.
I think that was Cheryl and Bert singing Jingle Bells.
Right?
Right. Yep.
I'll tell you a little story about trying to stop at a stop sign on ice, though. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I was like, oh, Greg has lived my life. You can't stop it on snow and ice.
There's no.
That was awesome. I love that. I love it. Oh man, I want to thank everyone. This was probably one of my most. I'm crying. I've been laughing so much and having such a great time here. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Greg. Thank you, Mr. Bill. This is a wonderful episode. I hope you guys all had fun. I love having those. I love having some holiday music up too. That made me feel really, really good. Thank you, everyone, for joining us live today, too. Great questions. So many wonderful people sending so many great appreciation for today's episode. So we thank you for joining us. I'm a loss for words. What's coming up next on Mom at Home? Well, let's see. We are going to not be here next week because we have Thanksgiving coming up. But following that, on December 4th, Friday, our next Mom at Home will be with Daniel Ho. He is a multi-instrumentalist. He is a ukulelist and just an all-around amazing musician. He's going to be joining us for that episode on December 4th, talking about the ukulele and his connection with his instrument. Following week, actually, you know what? Following week, yes, we have December 11th, Anne Charbonneau. She is the musical director and a keyboardist who works with Cirque du Soleil, a lot of musical theater. So we're going to be finding out more about her career and what she does. And then tomorrow, our next live virtual concert will be taking place tomorrow, Saturday, November 21st, with the wonderful Mimi Fox, award-winning guitarist, educator, and so much more. She's going to be coming to us live from her studio in Northern California tomorrow night at 7 p.m. You can reserve a ticket, a virtual ticket, for free thanks to the Carlsbad Cultural Arts Office. So go to our website, museumofmakingmusic.org, and find out how you can RSVP for that. And then in December, we have another virtual concert, December 18th at 7 p.m. with the Katie Thoreau Trio. Katie's a world-class jazz bassist, and she and her trio will be live from the Museum of Making Music. We don't have an audience. It will not be a public event, but it will be public over the internet right to your homes. You can get a ticket for that, RSVP for a virtual ticket. We'll send the link your way if you visit museumofmakingmusic.org and RSVP for that. Other than that, that's everything coming up on the horizon. I hope you had a ton of fun today. I sure did. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Bill. You guys are wonderful. Until then, we hope you join us next time on Mom at Home. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We're going to take that week off, and then we'll see you the first weekend in December. All right, everybody, until then, thanks for joining us, and take care.